Hi everyone, this is Charlize from Forward Chess and we're back with another endgame video. This time for club players on endgame positions, the Philidor and the Lucena. We'll be using Forward Chess and the book 100 Endgames You Must Know. So stick around. While everyone might be obsessed with learning thousands of lines in opening theory, you'll have a lot of strong players tell you that the most important part of chess that you should study is the endgame. In the endgame, of course, you have fewer pieces, there is technique, some things you just have to know how to do. And this is not exactly something you want to figure out at the board, so rather spend some time outside of your tournament or your chess game and learn the essentials. This book, 100 Endgames You Must Know, is perfect for club players. Of course, there are so many great endgame books out there, but our focus will be on this one. By New in Chess, Jesús de la Villa. It has basically every endgame that you at this point should know. Some of them you would already if we take a look at the table of contents. Rule of the square, pretty basic at this point. Again, we're talking about club level players, but you can test yourself with this basic test chapter, which I really like because it tells you what you do know and what you don't know, and sometimes you think you know a lot more than you actually do. So this could be a good refresher or a good way to start off your learning journey in endgames and to see what you should actually focus on. As you can see, many different chapters on really every fundamental endgame concept that you need to know, but it builds on the basics and explores endgames a little bit further. Of course, at the end you get a final test, and I think that's just a perfect way to ensure that your endgame knowledge is in shape. So let's go to the book. Again, we're using the web app of Forward Chess, the best way to read any chess book, honestly. And yeah, let's get straight to it. We're using the Forward Chess web app, looking at the book 100 Endgames You Must Know, focusing on Philidor and Lucena position from chapter 10. So here we are. Let's start with Lucena because this is, I guess, a simpler one out of the two. But the author himself says that there are so many rook and pawn versus rook endings, but at the end of the day, most of them will either lead to Philidor or Lucena. So I remember learning this as a kid. I never really remembered which term belonged to which. I knew the positions. You know, you get drilled these end games at this level in chess, and yeah, Lucena, I just at some point remember it as the ladder that you are building, like L and L alliteration sometimes helps to remember. That's just a little advice from my side, but end of the day, Philidor is when we are on the side without the pawn. Lucena is when we have the pawn, our king is in front of it, and we want to promote. Here's our position. The book gives a move for black first, rook c2. Black is trying to cut off our king. Of course, our king is unable to escape. So what we're going to do is use our rook as a way to shelter our king from the checks. First things first, we scooch over the black king, make it move away from us so that our king actually has space to move out. We'll see the arrow feature on Forward Chess. Our king wants to come out, and the black king is standing in the way just a tad bit. So rook f1, giving a king a check. The black king moves out of the way, and now, if we just had to bring our king out immediately, black would start checking. And there would be nowhere for our king to escape to without coming back. And eventually, this will be a draw because the king has nowhere to run to. It can't come forward because it has to protect the pawn constantly. And black will just be checking the whole time. So if we go back to this position, this is the critical point in the Lucena where we lift our rook. Again, alliteration, if this helps you, just a memory marker of sorts. We bring our rook up to the 4th rank. Rook f4. Still a little bit away from the king, but the idea is that our rook is high enough to not be attacked by the black king, and it's high enough to protect our king from the checks that will be coming. So let's take a look. Black plays random move like rook c1, and now our king has time to come out. Once the black rook starts checking, our king can come ahead of the pawn. Of course, the pawn wants to promote. And this is where the magic happens, because a check happens again. And now our king can come to d5, since after rook d1 check, we don't have to move our king. Now we see why we brought our rook up. We have rook d4, shielding ourselves from the check. And next step, our pawn will promote and white wins the game. There are many different variants of this. Black obviously can do different things. This is just the main position, the main thing to work through. But the book does go through really every possibility that there is. And it gives you different methods. If you look over here, let's put this off. We've got a second method. Cool thing is you can actually highlight here. I like highlighting my notes. And we have a third method as well. So the author goes through different ways of doing this position. Of course, previously we had rook a4, but rook a1 also possible if it's a pawn on a certain file. Note that this method is not possible with the knight's pawn. So the method we went through first is great because it's kind of an overarching one that you can use in many different positions. But again, there are different methods to learn, and the book goes through all of them if you want to kind of try out new things and give yourself the option to go for different ways of doing these endgames. But it's probably best to know them all, to be honest. But as long as you also just focus on the main Lucena, you'll be fine. Now let's talk about the Philidor position. Here, in this particular position, will be black, but in general, Philidor, you're defending. Your opponent has the extra pawn. You don't want them to promote. You've got the rook. You have to prevent your opponent from reaching Lucena, basically. So if we take a look at this, let's actually flip the board over here, since we are playing from the black side. This is a very basic position we're doing in this video. Again, the book really elaborates and gives you many memory markers to understand and take note of. But this is our basic position that we've reached. As black, you have a few options of what to do, and one misstep and you'll lose the game. But basically what you want to do is you want to prevent your opponent's king from coming forward. Of course, there are ways to play if this does happen, but the easiest is to stop that from happening by preventing your opponent's king from coming to the 6th rank with the move rook g6. The book says it very clearly here. Keep the rook on the 3rd rank until the pawn moves. So basically, whatever white does, we're keeping our rook here because we want the pawn to move. Let's say e6 happens. Now, the king is unsheltered. It has nowhere to hide behind the pawn. So we retreat our rook, or in this case, we're going up because we are going to give checks from the rear. As soon as the pawn has reached the 6th rank, the king is unable to block the checks or hide away in any case. So king d6, now all the checks come, and we can just check until the end of days because white has nothing to do, white can't progress, and this endgame will be a draw. This is a super simplified version of the Philidor. There is a lot more to it that is important to know. Of course, in chess, you're not just going to get a position from a book. you will have to know how to play leading up to it. So when you are here, you'll be comfortable. Okay, you're a pawn down, but you know it's drawn because you've studied your Philidor. And what I really like about this book is that it gives you little summaries over here. In this case, it says in the Philidor position, the defending king has to stand in front of the pawn on the first or second rank, depending on the position of the enemy rook, while the rook waits on the third rank. In this case, we had the sixth rank, waiting for the pawn to advance. Once the pawn has advanced, the rook gets ready to deliver checks, rear checks, and the attacking king can't find refuge. So, in summary, your king has to be in front of the pawn, your rook has to wait on the sixth rank as black, on the third rank as white, waiting for this pawn to move forward, where you will then just give checks from behind. There are positions that it goes into from here in both sides, Philidor and Lucena, if things go wrong, any other possibilities. And really, I can't stress how important this is to know, because this is not a position you want to be figuring out or trying to remember at the board when you probably are low on time. So yeah, that is it from our position side of things. This book is amazing. Studying it on forward chess is really great. You can also guess the move. So in this case, let's test out this feature. We are going to be playing for black. So with Guess the Move, the content is hidden, so no cheating, you can't actually see the moves, and you are playing against the computer. In this case, computers played e6, so we can test ourselves, play the correct or incorrect move. In this case, we just did it, so we know that our correct move is rook d1, white plays king d6, and now this is just a little practice, basically, of how to play this position. And you can do this throughout the whole book. It's really great. And that's all for today. Lucena Philidor from the book 100 Endgames You Must Know, using the Forward Chess web app. Let us know which endgames in particular you might want us to look at from this book or from a different book. Forward Chess has many. So drop a comment on that and we will see you next time.